세러데이 쇼다운. OK저축은행 브리온대 BNK PRX.
Does mean that this lane is not going to be a whole lot of fun in the early stages. Of course, Kai'Sa Rakan, not the most powerful in itself, so might just be a bit of a wet noodle fight down there. Should get the Ezreal and the Alistar through it relatively well. A lot of very powerful picks on the side of KT, and a lot of comfort as well, especially when you see Dr. on his Ezreal and Cuz, Skarner, and then, of course, you have to mention BDD on the Azir. Oh, some frozen Ezreal. A little bit of a shout-out to Double Lift there, who did say that it was the best skin many, many years ago. Now it is time. Jump into the rift.
Damage done there. But like you say, it's not going to be a lane where you should have kill pressure unless a mistake is made. You can see runes looking pretty standard across the board here. Grasp for Zeus, top lane here with Cuz, and very far up the lane is Zeus. He may be in trouble.
That Harpoon missing could be a big deal, as Cuz gonna get booped back, throws the rock, gets the flash.
Mid lane, looking for maybe just a drive-by shot blast to stop a back from BDD.
It doesn't really have anywhere to be on the map right now, so instead just tries to ruin KT's tempo a little bit.
Yeah, that was pretty nice.
He's going to be taken. Peanut starts the grubs off as they spawn, but Cuz is going to be moving over here.
Zeus does have teleport, and of course Perfect does not. I don't know if he has any intention of joining this, but if they need his help and they want to fight for this, he absolutely can be there at a moment's notice.
Yep, and level 6s picked up by both of our mid laners as well. First grub does go down. Peanut should be able to grab the second one pretty comfortably as Delight's going to move over. There's the flash out as Peanut makes his way in. The Weaver's Wall does deliver Zeka to the area. Flash out from Peter as well as the seismic shove has to be avoided with a headbutt. And so Peter knows that he is just going to go down a little bit early there because I thought Peter could have headbutted his way out.
Yeah.
Might have had a few cooldown issues as he's just going to get on in here. Zeus in a bit of trouble. He's burning down, but the rest of HLE, they turn up immediately and it's a double kill for Viper.
A lot of wards up there. How Life did. They were like, all right, this is our moment, this is our angle, we're going to trap them here. They probably didn't necessarily expect they were going to full commit, but because they did, they get those kills, they get the dragon as well, plus the grubs.
Well, there's a double pulverize here from Peter, because if at first you don't succeed, you just go for it again. Cuz drives in, misses Delight on that one, and they look for Peanut. They are going to be able to pick him up there with the Impale. BDD comes in, the Sand Soldiers get the work done. And they are at least making some plays to try and get back. That's the proactivity that I think KT have been missing throughout the LCK Cup. As we check this one out one more time, look at this. The cavalry just immediately arrive.
Yeah, Delight hitting the big knock.
Yeah, toying with him here on the bottom side of the map. Cuz should be able to grab this, and he doesn't. It's Peanut, picks that one up for himself. That is going to be 5 grubs over to HLE. And of course, a singular Ocean Drake does not mean too much, but you're a very long way away from a soul, and you really do need to start bringing it to HLE as well, and not just relying on this potential wear scaling type situation. As Seismic Shove onto Peter, does have the Unbreakable Will. He does a lot of damage. As Doctor trying to offer what he can. Peanut throws down the ulti very early on here. They once again find themselves milling about, and the objective goes down. And now Zeus throws out the Shock Blast. Seismic Shove going to need to be avoided with a flash.
They ultimately did, and now BDD is in big danger.
He is. Seismic Shove is going to be avoided. The Emperor's Divide comes out but doesn't hit anyone, and Viper is extremely fed. Rift Herald coming into the mid lane here as well as Peter looks for the trample. Zeus in a little bit of trouble here, and he will be going down. Doctom getting his first kill of the game.
A little bit overzealous.
Neutral, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, BDD here just shoves a bit too early. Delight's second. Fantastic. Ton of damage onto this top inner as well. So lots of value here for Hanwha Life Esports. I don't think Zeus should have necessarily died there, but I don't think they feel too bad when they're going to grab this inner.
Well, at least Cuz is pretty tanky. He does throw Delight into the wall. Viper getting hit around, and that's going to stop him from just destroying this Scorpion.
He's still away from falling over, and they got the inner.
Well, here is the Weaver's Wall. Doctom doesn't have a lot of mana, but he has enough to Arcane Shift and then does have to flash to avoid the size.
Yes.
Because they sound really similar. Speaking of Peanut, he's going to get pulverized by Peter. He looked for a little bit of an engage here. As you can see, Perfect does still have the Equalizer. They are in a choke point. Press the Equalizer. There it is. Emperor's Divide onto 2 and KT. They found a proactive play, but BDD is in the ground, and the Impale goes entirely wide. Viper now in the driver's seat in a lot of these instances, right? As Cuz going to make his way in, looking for Zeka here as the Weaver's Wall. Just going to get him out, and he'll be fine. Even able to grab himself a bloody pedal on his way through. As Peter going for some more plays. Peter and Peanut fighting once again, frustratingly enough, as the Flame Spitter will burn him down. Dr. have no right to go for, but the rest of HLE are just looking to destroy structures.
Yeah, I think
so. It will be the Otacon going down.
Yeah, the Otacon does go over, and a lot of petals are going to go over. They
Look
don't
at
have
this farming.
They don't have too many objectives to get buffed.
I mean,
with this.
their team fight is absolutely terrifying, right? If KT can get to it. Speaking of which, Peanut considering a donation once again. True Shot Barrage sails over. The ultimate gonna have to be invested here by Peanut and the rest of KT. They think that's an invitation to get on in there.
I mean, your Xin Zhao, like this mid turret here, good zoning by KT. It's going to be a teleport from Zeus to try to save it.
Well, Weaver's Wall going to come in here from Zeka. That's going to split up the fight momentarily, but Perfect will be able to join the rest of his team. Another P name, really? Didn't even think about it. That gets hit by another skill shot.
I mean, they just keep focusing him specifically, and these shots keep landing. Great accuracy.
Oh, Seismic Shove connects onto Cuz, but
I think so.
Teleport is going to be towards this bottom lane.
So far away.
Rest of KT now in position to go for something. Weaver's Wall just to break this one up. Cuz not electing to go over it, but he can just move in if he wants to. It's going to be the steal from Cuz. And Peanut down pretty low now as well. Has to use another ultimate right at the last second. And is looking to possibly get out of the way as Cuz flashes in, misses another ulti, and Perfect says, my flamethrower requires no aiming. And in fact, KT, they require no aiming either. They got Dr. now. He's able to help grab another kill.
This should just be Baron for KT. That's the one team fight I was talking about. KT just need one fight, one moment. They can get right back into this game, and they got it. So many tools used for Hanwha Poke is really starting to hit. I mean, he's on 3 items now.
Yeah, Weaver's Wall. They are looking for Perfect here as the Seismic Shove goes wide. Peter has found Peanut once again, though, as Cuz making his way and finds a rock onto Viper. Zeka is incredibly low as Doctom's looking for him into the backline, goes to Light. He's almost just dead. It's a beautiful arcane shift, though. Doctom will get audaciously charged, does go down, but the Emperor is here and has done some division. It's just not quite enough, but they've taken down the Kaiser. BDD trying to kite, but he gets stunned up and will be taken down. Zeka
Cannot win. Oh man, BDD's super upset with how
just
it went down.
in history, but also in this game. As Peter with a Mega Blast going looking for an angle. They do get on top of Peanut. As the Impale comes on through, it is going to be the soul lockdown for Peanut, finally finding himself a smite. As now Viper gets flashed on, immediately goes into that Zhonya's, but now he's out of position. The Pulverize is good. It is the mid laner going down for KT, but the rest of the team is fighting well. Flash comes out from Cuz, and Zeka is now the carry that HLE are going to be relying on. That and Zeus, who is raining these shock blasts down. Meanwhile, KT's base is also exploding. Another Zhonya is going to be utilized, this time by Perfect, who wants to try and kill Zeka, but it's not going to work. And HLE find themselves another fight and a soul off the back of it, as Doctom and Cuz licking their wounds, trying to keep their base alive.
Yeah, the top wave will naturally push, and they'll just demolish this turret instantly here. BDD up in 20. I don't think Hanwha Life
on the cards. Is Doctom taking some more skill shots, as we can see. Peanut, though, goes in, gets on top of the Ezreal. Arcane Shift gets him out of there. The Weaver's Wall not quite doing enough here for HLE right now. Seismic Shove is good onto BDD, though, as Zeka has to flash to get out of the way of this equalizer. BDD's burning, and he does go down. Now Viper getting into the backline. I don't know about this one, but he's still able to get these autos off. Supercharger to make sure he's in the right position. Cuz he's going to get eviscerated, and KT, that was their last breath, as HLE will now push in for the win.
Oh, BDD is not happy. They had such a good angle in this game. It all went wrong in the bottom lane, and Hanwha Life took it back. Viper with an incredible Kaisa game.
Oh yeah, got fed early, and it looked like KT had found an angle, and obviously they didn't, because the Nexus goes down. HLE.
지금부터 센터 가볼게. 지금부터 센터 갈게. 스카너 같은데 봐도 돼. 이제 볼게. 알리만 때릴게. 이제 캐피. 비전 없는 거야. 이제 비전 없는 거. 알리 먼저 때려봐. 알리 먼저. 알리 높을. 한번 빼고. 알리 콩값 빠졌다. 나 아직은 더 줄래요? 가자. 패치 가자. 이제 높을. 카이사 맞아. 카이사. 하나 높을이야. 잠깐만. 오케이. 이제 높을. 알리도 높을.
Not expected to win afterwards, but there was signs of life, and more signs of life than what we saw in the LCK Cup. So I guess KT fans, you don't need to be feeling completely down in the dumps after this one. This was at least competitive, and they have a game 2 now to try and do a little bit better.
This can be quite tricky to pilot into the Gwen with the kind of rework of the Gwen where she's a lot stronger early. I do feel like it's going to take a lot of finesse, but if piloted correctly, you use your shield at the right time and you dash into the circle, you've got a lot of ways to outplay the Gwen, and Zeus is obviously the more experienced top laner and has the more accolades, and most are calling him right now the greatest top laner of all time.
Buster shot available here for BDD, and it's going to need to be used absolutely fantastically. These pop blossoms need to be perfect. Let's dive into the rift for game 2. I don't know whether he's really hit it so far this year.
It's
necessarily.
Just, you don't know what perfect you're going to get.
Yeah.
And with certain champions, you know he has high highs on them, like the Rumble, for example, but we didn't see that in game 1. He missed a lot of the big equalizers, was a little slow on some of the other ones.
He is now Zeka going in, but doesn't get the chains, and BDD throwing out a few more of these bullets.
Yeah, you have still low range on Tristana in the early parts of this, but you're still ranged, so you can do well. But Zeka with a nice trade back, actually, more than a lot of Silas players would have hoped to have there at level 3 into a Tristana, looking for another one.
Ooh, explosive charge going to connect there, and he gets the full stack. Still only going to be evenly trading, and Kingslayer does give Zeka that extra amount of sustain in this lane. Yeah, he's just trying to get what he can.
Hard to kill an Ambessa, so even though he put the pressure on and Zeus, he wants Zeus to TP back and cause some CS, he can just hang out.
Oh, and with the teleport down now for Perfect, it means that this swap is so much more punishing.
It's so good here for Hanwha Life, because now Viper shows up and Ambessa just goes straight to the bottom lane.
With a good advantage here for the start of this game. I was a little bit worried about him on the Gwen, but he's done a great job thus far.
Do have Peter.
Oh dear. Okay, handshake going to go straight through as Peter does manage to snare them. And also the Blooming Burst doing some work there as Cuz is moving up. Bailout now down, but it's on to Viper, and that's going to mean that Delight has to flash, pounce forward. First blood for Cuz.
Cuz, the spear
accuracy.
accuracy.
Used up all of his misses on his impales in the last game, okay?
That was really well played. Excellently baited as well.
Some needlework here towards the bottom side as the ulti to come out from Zeus. Let's see whether he can actually win this one as the extra healing helping Perfect out. So a trade of ultimates, and now, okay, Zeus still wanting more. He's landing all these buttons. One more, and the flash forward's gonna...
well.
He just needed to flash earlier, right? And I think that's why he was frustrated, as he pressed the flash button anyway. Good handshake is going to come in onto Cuz, but BDD has turned up, and Delight is once again in trouble. Another kill comes forward, as that's the decoy that they're fighting for the moment, and KT is going to be okay with this. Zeka with a buster shot now, built up for himself. Not going to connect those chains.
For Cuz on this Nidalee.
All right, Fate's Call comes down. Viper looking for it here as Peter gets rendered, but advantage. He just only extending. As okay, Arrow going to connect here onto Peanut. A Cyclone comes in and Cuz has to flash away the Pop Blossom. A little bit disjointed and Peter is going to be taken down. There's kill number 1 for Viper. Hostile takeover going to come on through and Cuz able to pounce over the wall. Doctor getting to relative safety.
Like, maybe I get something on the Zeka. They end up getting the plate. They deny a cannon. Hold up. More in the mid lane.
Yeah, Zeka really wanted to find something. Buster shot going to be thrown out there as Cuz just decides he's pouncing on in, and Zeka had just teleported. And Spear going to be avoided nicely by Zeka, who clears out.
A bit of a late addition with Peter. Hasn't quite figured it out yet.
Is Doctor going to be okay?
He does not have ult, but he is Ash.
Moved quite slowly. And no flat. He's so dead. Like, we're all about the positives here. As we're going to have a look at it one more. Do we have to? Well, he hits every button, so nicely done, Zeus. He's like, yep.
Especially if they can snowball a fight with this Tristana.
Yep. Speaking of Tristana, BDD really making sure that he gets the cannon. You love to see that as, whoa, that was an arrow. Was that coming from Zeka, though? That's the question. And yes, it was.
Yeah.
So that's why he had to flash it. Man, that could have been really confusing because he's like, oh, but the Ashe is on my team, so I'll be fine. No, not fine. And thankfully, he's not as silly as I am. Needlework landing onto Zeka here on the top side of the map as there's a teleport in as well. Peter's moving over as there's another arrow and another mid laner using their flash. But can he avoid the rest of it? And the answer is yes. Still going to be this turret falling lower and lower. And remember, this is 5 grubs for KT. Doctor, once again in an awkward spot. Good sidesteps. He's still dead. As once again, Doctor out of position will get rendered down. This turret does fall, though.
Gonna cost BDD some CS, some damage to this turret. They don't get the turret, but if they had stayed, Peanut just carries that as BDD. Whoa.
Oh, dear. Well, Peter is moving on up, finds a Pop Blossom.
There's an angle.
Yep, Spear is going to connect gorgeously.
It might just be better off letting Perfect take a turret bottom side and giving this one.
Looks like that might be what they're trying to do as the teleport comes in from Zeus to put him in good position.
Yeah, you got a TP, just let this one go.
There is a lot of just on-demand
Zeus,
vision.
just kind of stick around the Herald, but don't commit.
And now Delight finds himself in an awkward spot. Fate's Call has to be traded for the arrow. Good arrow that time from Doctarm. Fly over. I think Cuz getting the bad news here. Knows that he's not going to be able to get in, so that's some upgraded shoes here.
Some additional time.
Ooh, Arrow going to be flying into Delight here, looking to try and get another Fate's Call, but that's on cooldown, so Delight is just dead. Peter's the one that actually picks up the kill. Setting themselves up. Zeka now with that explosive charge on him, but there's the public execution. Pop Blossom going to be used, and BDD trying to get himself over the wall. Buster shot to get rid of Zeus, and it's now a cacophony, but KT are winning it. There's the bailout, but it is not enough, and KT just put HLE in the ground. That's just how it goes. Teleport into the mid lane here from BDD just to try and catch this wave. HLE unable to really find too many angles here, especially with these arrows flying in, the spears flying in as well. Cuz looking for another one. Zeus able to sidestep it.
I'm not really sold on Viper's build this game either, to be honest.
Oh,
like
the classic lethality.
Lethality Callista.
Gets a Cinder for the speed up as well. Remember, the public execution going to be such a big deal. And BDD already just jumping on in. That is going to be Peanut locking down the Drake. KT, though, they're looking for this Ambessa, who's just thrown around like a ragdoll. There's a Pop Blossom landing on a 2. Viper nailed by the arrow, and 3 are on the ground in an instant.
And the good news for Hanwha is you got the Dragon. The bad news is you got wiped again. And I think it was a great call by BDD to chase the Zeus on the flanking Zeus, chase the Ambessa there, deny his entry, keeps Doctarm super safe there in that situation. And that's a team fight win here with longer deaths, your respawn timers here, and a Gwen Tristana. They could just try to push to end. They've got enough minions here.
Oh,
it's gonna be a tough defense.
Okay, yeah, let's not get overly enthusiastic, because there's a huge Pop Blossom from Zeka. It's just not enough to actually take anyone down. The first Nexus turret falls. Peanut using his decoy effectively.
Cleared out. They're playing super far forward here. Look at how blind Hanwha are, trying to find an angle.
Oh, well, Arrow is going to connect onto Cuz. They're going to blow him up, or attempt to, but he goes golden. I just don't know whether he's going to be able to get out. The hostile takeover, it almost actually gets him out of there, but now the fight has been engaged. The Pop Blossom is decent, and now it's BDD looking for the resets. He locks down Zeka. He's already found Peanut, and Doctarm goes down, but BDD is the one that means everything for KT. Perfect now has the matter in his own hands, but everyone's dashing away, and HLE! Oh no, KT now left in the dust. That's the ace. And Viper, even though he is this weird lethality Callista, he's still lethal, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to look to grab themselves the Baron.
Bailout, baby. There was never any doubt for Viper in that team fight. He cleans up house again. And I just thought this game wasn't winnable, to be honest. I wasn't hyped for KT. The composition, the game state, everything, but KT gave him the perfect opportunity, and Viper seizes those every single time.
Take my POMs, Viper. This guy, good, I guess.
It's not over, but now HLE have a Baron to work with. There's a ton of standing gold on the map for them to pick up. And this situation should have never happened.
Yep. Beautifully done. And now KT, they're back on the map. Of course, there's not a whole lot that was picked up outside of the Baron, as hostile takeover is not going to be enough to make sure that Delight survives. So that is going to put a dampener in this Baron. It is already under just the default gold that you get from killing it. And so KT still in the driver's seat. They still have a gold lead. And the arrow is going to sail through and lock down Doctarm. Another defensive Pop Blossom. Peanut cannot do anything.
Can't get in there. Peter says no.
Like, everyone has to be in line, right? Like, everyone has to engage at the same time. Otherwise, it doesn't work for HLE, and then you just, all of this damage gets rained down on top of you, and you can do nothing about it because you don't have the range. And KT, they're not letting the little ace get the better of them this time.
They don't engage. That's still a Callista on a Dragon.
It's still going to be very hard to stay on this Dragon, but they do so much damage to it. Cuz really going to have to try and land this fight. Remember, there's a rend. As okay, Pop Blossom stolen by Zeka, doesn't do too much, but they get the Infernal Soul still. Look at this damage. BDD with the Buster Shot saves his own life as Peter trying to get in there. One with the Pop Blossom, but it's not quite enough. Still BDD free hitting over the wall. It's a double for Perfect, who goes golden, and now Zeus gonna be taken down. BDD with the triumph, stays alive. This explodes. KT will have an opportunity to go to a game 3. That is likely happening, and in fact, it is. KT with their first win of 2025.
치고 있다. 오른쪽에 안 나쁜 거 없잖아. 몸 좀 넣어줘야 돼, 몸. 몸 넣어줘. 도현이 넣어야 돼, 또. 안 뱉어 줄게. 오케이, 안 뱉어보자. 안 빠지고. 안 뱉어. 앞에, 앞라인 봐줘, 여기 앞라인 봐줘. 천천히 볼게, 천천히. 잠깐만, 천천히. 좋아. 앞에 봐줘. 피 별로, 천천히. 앞라인부터. 앞라인 봐줘. 빨리. 좋아. 미드 갈게. 해줄게. 나이스.
The game, you can see there doing second damage when they have like the giga powerful Gwen at the moment. Perfect, able to get that one, and it did work out in the end, although not necessarily the best. BDD obviously star of the show, but want him to play TF for some reason, but instead Orianna, it's going to be Orianna.
I mean, that has some synergy, obviously, with the Misfortune. If you can get people to group up with your big shockwave, then it could potentially set up a combo that way. They have a lot of really nice single target pick in this composition. I love Pantheon into Neferi because you can just simply shut her down. She only has one untargetable. She can only W once, and once you lock her down as she's trying to set up for that reset with her ultimate, she just becomes a bit of a sitting duck. She's not tanky. She's not going to be doing any engaging. That's going to be up to the Misfortune, the Orianna, and to a lesser extent, the Cassante here.
See, I don't think it's quite enough to make me feel like they are performing the upset here today, but who knows? Game 2 did happen. Let's jump into the Rift.
So he does like to play it. He likes to make the big hero plays. And when you're BDD on a team that needs you to make those, I mean, Orianna's got the agency for it. You know, he was known for playing Syndra in the past as well. These mages that can just warp a team fight with a sick play.
That's enough of that. Zeus is going to throw down his Counter-Strike. Perfect actually playing it quite well here, as we can see. Getting a bunch of these grass procs as well.
Yeah, the wave's going to push towards him as well, so he's kind of just chilling.
Yeah, he only needs a couple more minions. This is so dangerous. There's the flash in. I don't know about that one, though. Zeus does hit that level 6. Needs another Empower or two, but he's just going to back away. Not only level 5, so no bullet times over the wall or anything like that. So Cuz now moving in, gets stunned up, and my god, goes untargetable for now. Already, Delight taking a fair bit of damage because is out of this fight as well. Peter, and they dive on top of Zeka. He's just completely left to the wolves, or to the dogs, or whatever they are. And now Perfect is moving forward. He's so strong, goes all out onto Peanut, but they're also targeting Delight as well. He's under 100, he knows that he's dead. As Zeus dives in, can he be the champion of HLE? And it looks like he may just be. BDD now just trying to kite him as best he can. It's not going to be enough, but Zeus now may have overextended. Perfect slows him down with a Q. Cuz wanting to get one, but he's obviously got that Counter-Strike back available again, so they're not killing Zeus.
Teleport committed.
That's going to be 3. Chains of Corruption comes down, though, and in goes Delight straight into the back of the pit. That's going to be Peanut evening out the grub count, and over the wall goes Doctor. Now Perfect looking for his opportunity. This could be massive for this Cassante, but Zeka takes his opportunity and just locks them down. Delight, he has the bleed on him, but I just don't know whether it's going to be enough to kill him. It's close, but not enough.
Once again with BDD, Orianna ball control here in the choke. Does relinquish it, though.
Yeah. Cuz looking for a little bit of an engage opportunity. So is Peter as the Glacial Prison goes wide. The Leona is going to go down, and now Peanut looking for more. Untargetable though is Cuz, even though he is relatively low on health for this moment in time. 20 CS in the lead as the Cassante.
Peter? Okay, that was scary.
Yeah. Okay, as I was singing his praises, it's possible that Perfect is dead. He goes all out. Let's see whether he can get out, and he does. Turret shot taken by Zeus, but that, unfortunately, the teleport a little bit slow. Shockwave comes in, and that's not a Nocturne! That's an Ethereal, and it still works!
Close enough. Also, Zeus dead, but 1,000 kills!
I love it when they come up right as they die. Oh, 1,000 kills, that is 5th!
The recall, which means they can't actually punish the initial play.
He's a bit frustrated about dying earlier and manages to nail the Q this time around. Doesn't have all out, so I think Zeka is going to survive because, like, this guy just does not do that much. Oh,
Well,
never mind. Maybe he does do the damage. Perfect's like, I'm tanky. Looking for the Q. Does not quite get it, but man.
Perfect. If you flash for that, you get him.
Peter can kill him. He's managing to land the Solar Flare, and he's looking to tank this one up. One more turret shot is almost enough to kill him because, man, you lose Eclipse and Aftershock, and you're taking a big chunk, but calculated.
And Perfect doesn't keep his flash, as Peanut looks like he's just barely going to miss.
Oh my God, are they both going to get out? Well, no, Perfect is not. He does have all out now. As the smite comes in, but the battling for these objectives, and another one is going to be taken here by KT.
No, that's not 100% necessary.
No, it's not what it's about. As now BDD could be in a little bit of trouble. Delight maybe going a little further than he needs to. BDD finding 2 with the shockwave, now trying to get out, but the counter-strike should stop him. Permafrost comes in, Peanut.
And KT, they're pushing a little bit with the Cassante, but it just doesn't hit the same. They will be able to grab this dragon, though, as Hanwha Life do relinquish control after that pick in the bottom lane.
Look at that.
You know, they got 2 kills on the Fury, maybe a third.
Well, Cuz is just going to dive forward. There is once again the combo, and Zeka realizes, okay, that's the world's shortest realm warp, but it's
great in the early game, but isn't going to be able to deal with them anymore.
Well, Peanut is going to get the Captain Jack out of Doctor. He has to flash to get out of the way of the Chains of Corruption, but he passes all of the tests. You love to see it. Cuz now bouncing on top of the Sejuani after throwing down this Rift Herald. Let's see whether they can get themselves a charge, because it was put down in a pretty awkward spot. Perfect in position, though. And now it's Peter. Has a bit of a charge opportunity. Breaks open the turret. And that is going to put KT within touching distance. Soul point, even though it's Chemtech, still going to be relevant.
Uh-oh.
As oh dear, Peanut getting hit by the Zenith Blade. Another shockwave connecting onto 2 because going down so low, he's going to need to go untargetable soon. And he just isn't going to be able to. That is going to be the Rise picking up the kill, and now Counter-Strike right on top of Docdom. Zeus, do they have the CC for him? That's the question. The answer is absolutely not. Peter gonna have to flash out of the way, and he does do so. But HLE demonstrating that, yeah, they're in a pretty good position this game. Now looking for an Otacon themselves. This could be the game broken open.
I thought I mentioned it earlier. You know, the Sejuani's not the one that the Fury normally wants to kill. Because did try his best, and Peanut survives. Jack's pushing mid at the same time. They have to go over and deal with the Rise. They barely defend the turret, but it means it's a free dragon. Zeus wants more.
Oh dear. Docdom in a little bit of trouble here. Chains of Corruption go wide once again. Oh, it's a decent shield, but not quite enough. And Zeus, he doesn't even have to withdraw. Gold deficit, just sort of by blinking.
Yeah, watch this from Zeus. He knows he has the Otacon buff, so he doesn't care if he dies here. Gets on top of Docdom. There's a commitment here with the Pantheon as well to guarantee it. Then they just take out the turret, so he walks out scot-free.
Same time. And now he's looking to fight BDD. Let's see whether Peter and Cuz are going to be enough to stop this Jax from destroying them. The Armguard comes in. Delight now finds himself in front of 3 people. BDD going to get stabbed as the Pantheon is going to go down, but he sacrifices himself for it. Sidestep there on the piercing arrow is good, as Cuz will find the gap close. And Viper with his Edge of Night is going to be able to stave that one off quite comfortably.
When Zeus isn't showing, he got to be scared.
Oh dear, Cuz down to half health immediately. Permafrost not going to be doing too much there as Docdom. Another Captain Jack, that's going to work out. Chains of Corruption again going wide. And Docdom actually some smooth footwork there as in goes Peter. I don't know about that, but still, they're going to force Zeus to use his Zhonya's one more time. Peanut going aggressive, but it's Peter that goes down. Zeus tries to dive in. This guy is immortal! As Perfect, he goes all out, and that should be able to get him. Never mind! He is actually impossible to kill as HLE are now underneath turrets. BDD had just respawned, it feels like, and is dead once again. That's an ace, and the first stand champs, I think, are looking to win their first series of the LCK 2025.
Man, what a game from Zeus on the Jax. That, ladies and gentlemen, is your greatest top laner of all time, and he's not done yet. He's got one more structure to kill, Atlas.
And it's a Leona. Oh, wait, no, the Nexus. That's what you were talking about. That is going to go down.
Played really well, but he just took over the game.
Yep. And yeah, like you say, it's Perfect having a great game on the Cassante as well. It's just when it got to playing the map and playing the team fights, it was this guy right here. This was unfair.
I mean, this is insane. He has the Zhonyas. He absorbs all of Docdom's ult here with it. And then he gets shockwaved, and he goes in. And then he's like, I got the heal.
And then he goes out. He was like 10 health. And he's still alive! Sundered Sky gets him his health back.
Yeah, Sundered Sky proccing twice there in very critical moments.
My god, that was so unfair. Look at him, and he's nonchalant, just chilling. Just, yeah, no, of course I calculated.
I think it's for him. He just looks at it, he's like, if I die, it doesn't matter.
Well, I mean, that's another point.
And he's like, but I didn't, but anyway, we won, so whatever.
Viper also able to still do a whole bunch of damage. This guy's lethality Varus has always been very good, and that stays true. As HLE, I mean, this was exactly the first KT series of the season that we wanted to see.
오늘 풀세트 끝에 KT 롤스터를
Thank you very much, guys. This is Dear for the POM interview translation, joined by Zeus on the side of Hana Life Esports. Congratulations!
네, LCK 정규
Thank you.
시즌에서의 첫 번째 승리입니다. 승리 소감 먼저 여쭤보겠습니다.
This is your first LCK regular season victory. How do you feel?
LCK 개막하고 나서 저희 경기력이
First of all,
계속 좀 별로 마음에 안 들어서
After the
오늘도 이기긴
LCK
했지만
opening week,
뭐야,
opening day, I felt like we didn't really perform up to par. And I still feel like there are a lot of parts that we need to fix and work on. And you are the 5th all-time top laner to reach 1,000 LCK kills. So how do you look back on this milestone?
이제야 1000킬 달성했다는 게 좀 아쉬운 것 같고요.
You know, I feel like it took way too long for me to reach 1,000 kills, so I feel like I finally got here. And I think I really want to make sure to reach more milestones and make history. Yeah, you ended up dropping game 2. So what did KT give you the most trouble with? I think going into game 2, we actually expected that it would be a tough game. And I feel like we had ended up losing a lot of the team fights. So what was the plan to come back in game 3? Since it's fearless draft, I think we really discussed on what champion is higher on the tier list. So I think that's what really helped in the end. Yeah, your game 3 Jax performance was on point. And even Smev, while looking at your highlight, he was so incredibly touched. So can you walk us through? So I think when I was Jax, I knew that if I'm able to scale well and get to late game without an issue, that I would be really tanky enough. Did you end up watching your cheer video? No, I actually didn't. So when were you gonna watch it? You know, one day someone will show me and I'll watch it. But I don't think I can watch it in peace. I feel like your teammates are waiting and bracing themselves to show you one day. And onwards to your second victory, you will face DN Freaks. This will be your first matchup of the year, so what are your goals? After our title championship at First Stand, I feel like our performance has reached a high point. And I feel like there's so much left to show everyone, and I really want to make sure that we're preparing well and that we're able to show up. And that's the end of the interview with Zeus, and back to the space. Thank you.